So many of you know that I am an avid reader, right? I love to read. I've been an avid reader since I was a kid. They used to have this thing called Vacation Bible School, and they used to always let us read. And then they had like a summer reading program at the library. I was always the one that was reading. And most of the time, it was just to escape boredom or to just escape my world. When you're a kid and your home is kind of chaotic sometimes, you do things to escape it. And for me, reading was a big one. If I was reading, nobody bothered me. My mother really encouraged education. She encouraged reading. She encouraged knowledge. And I loved it. I loved it. I could just escape, right? So I've been doing book reviews off and on throughout the year. And I got very behind in them because for a little while there, I couldn't concentrate. So now I'm back on top of it. So I want to show you guys something that's really special. This came to me. This came to me. It's called Love Notes to My Heart. And it is writings about wholeness, women, and the wild world by Jessica. I hope this is Ricchetti. I think that's how you say her name. And she's the author of Wisdom of the Shadow Oracle and Wisdom of the Divine Feminine. Now, and here's a picture of her on the back. That's her. So I met Jessica because you all know I review a lot of decks, right? And I review both of her oracle decks, and I use them in my spiritual practice with my clients and with myself. I use the shadow one for my shadow work readings, and I use the other one for my divine feminine readings. And I just admired her work. She works with another person. It's not just her by herself. I think it's another person that did the illustrations, another woman. And I really like her work, and I find her to be a good person, which for me is more important than anything else. She's on my Facebook page. She's a priestess. And when I look at her posts, I just love the raw realness of watching her live life. You don't always see that on social media. You see a lot of people's perfectly curated, cultivated lives. So I love when I look at somebody's page and I see them crawling through the mud. I see them standing up. I see them raising up. And I've seen all of this with Jessica. So when she said she wrote a book, I was like, I gotta read that. Like, that's going to be interesting. So she sent it to me a long time ago. And I said, the first chance I got, I was going to read it cover to cover and review it. And that's what I've done. I've read it cover to cover, and today we're going to give it an honest review. My name is QueenAusetHeru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to anyone and everyone who might like it too. Please drop us some positive comments. Let me know, have you ever used the Wisdom of the Shadow Oracle or the Wisdom of the Divine Feminine? Let me know. Or if you know Jessica, she's a really, really awesome person. So some of you out there may actually already know her. If you want to get a reading done, all my personal information will be underneath this video. And on top will be a link to where you can purchase this book. If it's on Amazon, I'll leave my affiliate link. And if she has it on her personal website, I will leave both of them so you can decide which one you actually want to use. Okay? And that's it. So let's talk about the book. So first of all, look at it. I like it. I like the whiteness, the simplicity of the cover, the colors, the writing. In case you guys want to read the back, feel free to screenshot that. How much did it cost? Let me see. I don't see the cost on here. No, I don't see the cost on here. But I do see her website here, so I'm sure all of that is there. So the first thing I liked about it was the color scheme, and it's soft. Like, the actual touch of it is soft. And I thought that was interesting because it's like it has a soft energy in some places. It has a wild energy in some places. But every time I touched it, it felt soothing. And I don't know if she did that on purpose, but I felt that. And I was like, If she did that on purpose, that is genius. And if she didn't, that was the universe. Either way, it was genius, right? So let me first and foremost, before I get to talking about the chapters and why I liked it and what I loved, I would like to read something to you. This is on the very first page. I kneel at the altar of the Most High, the altar of my heart, of the beloved, of the all. I ask that my heart be open, rooted, and pure, so that I may serve all in the highest devotion and truth. May it be so, and so it is. I love that so much. When I read it the first time, I just stopped. I couldn't even continue reading. I just stopped and I held it to my chest and I was like, this is about to be an experience, right? So that's how it opens, all right? So then she gives us a letter directly from her, and then it breaks into contents. So there's more than one section, okay? The first section is about wholeness. The next section is women. Then we have the wild world. Then there's lineage, love, and then there's gratitude. Now, all these sections are exactly what you think that they sound like. In the wholeness section, she's talking about heartache and struggle and healing, most important part, prayer. It's all about the spiritual things that we do to heal ourselves when we're angry, when we're hurt, when we're abused, when we're pushed down, when we're suppressed, when we're, harmed in some way. It's all the things that we do, the breathing, the existing. And basically this book is poetry, prayers, I would say spells, really beautiful ones. Like you could take this book and you could take her writings and use it as a prayer for yourself, or a spell if you wanted to doctor it up a little bit, or use it as is. Let me see. Of course, poetry is written in a poetic format, and it has prose and letters to herself and letters to others. So I just was like, wow, this is really, really awesome. So that whole first part that I talked about wholeness, is about becoming whole, using spirituality, using your connection with creator or creatrix. All of that kind of energy is what's in the whole, the wholesome, wholeness. That's what it's called. The wholeness first section. So I really like this book because of how it talks about the deep ache that you have. It talks about prayer. It talks about back and forth. It's very human. It reminds me of her Facebook page. Remember I said her Facebook page, you can see her like dealing with life. And it's not just all love and light, because we have a tendency to stay towards love and light, of course. But things happen. Frustrations happen. Anger happens. Depression happens. Things happen. So I love to see a person deal with the things. And that whole section about wholeness is about dealing with the things and becoming whole. The next part is about women. The women section I noticed was like a love letter to women. That's what I got from that. It was just like, love letters to women, love letters to the sister, love letters to yourself. The young self, the inner child, the woman in you, and this kind of reminded me of like some of the older rituals and rites that our aunties, in different parts of the world might be familiar with, that our indigenous aunties, this is something that reminded me of that kind of energy. And I really enjoyed it. And it talked a lot about that vibration. And it was very beautiful. And this whole thing is very beautiful. It's very kind. It's very gentle. I needed this because I had been through a time of a great depression when I read this. And it was like medicine. That's the word I'm looking for. It was like medicine. And I think she uses that word in the book too. That's what it felt like. It felt like medicine for a person who's been through something. That's exactly what it felt like. Then the wild world section was all about the earth, the changing cycles, earth. I would call it earth honoring. If you're somebody in earth honoring traditions, we give reverence to the moon, the different cycles, the phases of the earth. The earth is a very important part of most priestess traditions because we need it. We need it. We live here, The earth is our home, and we don't always take the best care of her. So that section to me was like a love letter to earth, and asking people to love earth and give earth more, and that really touched me because that's important, and we don't talk about it enough. We talk about environmental issues sometimes, but I don't think we give it the respect that it needs. We ain't got nowhere else to live. This is it. And it talked about the different seasons. A lot of people love the seasons. Everybody's getting ready for pumpkin spice right now and Christmas, so that kind of thing. And then it was like lineage love. Lineage love was like letters and prose about like, your grandparents, letters to child, things along those lines. I think it says here to her, it was a letter from Jessica to her daughter, her, Jessica's mom, her grandmother. Yeah, it was here it is. It was her daughter, her mother, her grandmother, and her great grandmother. And then it was messages from the ancestors. We often channel messages from the ancestors or get them from readings in some way. And then the last part was all about giving thanks and being grateful and having gratitude and appreciation for the things that are in here. The healing process, the earth, goddess, God, all that kind of stuff. That was the last part, is giving gratitude for that. So I would like to give gratitude to Jessica for writing this book first and foremost. And I would suggest to you, if you're somebody who likes those topics that I mentioned here, or if you're somebody who's going through something or just got through something, I strongly recommend it. I read this book in a few hours, and that's not like me. Usually it takes me, a little bit of time, a day, 2, 3, 4, depending on how many words are in the book. But this one, I couldn't put it down. I just kept wanting to know, what did she say next? What happens next? It's like a drama. It's like, what happens next? Did she get up? Is she okay? It's that kind of thing. And it left so much hope and so much happiness. And it's a beautiful contribution to the world. So for those of you who can stand some loving medicine right now, check out this book. I'll show it to you one more time. Please check it out. And if you see Jessica, tell her that you saw my video and that I am continuing to send her my eternal love. All right. Hope y'all can see that. Let me get it a little closer for some of y'all, because I know as we get older, the eyes. All right. Cool. All right, guys. You come back soon, because you always know QueenAusetHeru has got so much more to say. See you later.